You guys, welcome to Sick of Pricks, a type 2 diabetes podcast. I'm Mary, your diabetes bestie. And today I want to talk about something that I don't think gets talked about nearly enough. When most people think about type 2 diabetes, they think about blood sugar and they think about carbs, right? They think about medications and food and needles and doctor's appointments and complications. They might think about your A1C. And yes, all of those things are part of it, but I don't think that's the hardest part. I think the hardest part is that diabetes quietly takes up a whole heck of a lot of space in your brain all day, every day. And after a while, that can get really lonely. I didn't really realize how much brain space diabetes takes up until I started paying attention to my own thoughts. In June, I went on a friend group vacation. I think there were like a dozen of us. And a few of us went out to dinner, just a small group, nothing crazy, just dinner. We were all looking at the menu trying to decide what to order, but I realized that we all were not doing the same thing. They were all deciding what sounded good. I was trying to decide what sounded good while also wondering what my blood sugar had been doing that afternoon, whether I'd eaten enough protein that day, whether I was actually hungry or just bored, whether I'd regret ordering French fries, should I get the sweet potato fries or the regular fries, whether I wanted dessert later, and whether I'd worked out enough that morning to make any of those choices feel different than the other. All of that happened in my brain before the waiter ever came to the table. Everyone else, they were just trying to decide between the burger and the chicken. Know what I'm saying? Now, no hate goes to my friend group, okay? No one was doing anything wrong. They were just ordering dinner. It was me who realized that my brain doesn't get to just order dinner anymore. And maybe yours doesn't either. I don't even notice that I'm doing it most of the time. It's become so normal for me. Packing for a weekend trip, for example. Most people think about clothes. I'm thinking, did I pack enough medication? Do I have an extra sensor? What if this sensor falls off? Did I pack the tack away and the alcohol wipes? Is my charger packed? Do I have enough low blood sugar emergency Skittles? Don't judge me. That's what I use for low blood sugars. I cannot stand glucose tabs and I just refuse. What if my flight gets delayed? What if my blood sugar decides to act like it's never left the house before? I think about all of that and then I pack the clothes. That's become automatic. It's like diabetes is a browser tab that's always open in my brain. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's using every ounce of memory my brain has, but it's always there. And I don't think people without diabetes realize that. And I don't think I realized it either till I started paying attention. Know what nobody else tells you? How many decisions diabetes asks you to make every single day. People will tell you to watch your carbs, exercise, take your medication, check your blood sugar. Those are the obvious things. What they don't tell you is that diabetes turns almost every day into a series of tiny decisions. Should I eat now or wait? Should I bring a snack? Should I check my CGM? Is that headache stress or is it my blood sugar? Am I actually hungry? Should I go for a walk? Is this worth the spike? Do I need more water? Should I call my doctor? Should I refill my prescription today? By themselves, none of those things are that hard. But collectively, they are exhausting. And the kicker is, nobody knows that they're even happening. Have you ever had one of those days where by the time dinner rolled around, you were just over it? You were just done? Not necessarily physically, but mentally. Done making decisions, done thinking about food, done wondering if your numbers are going to cooperate, done trying to figure out why yesterday's breakfast gave you a beautiful blood sugar after, and today's identical breakfast decided to choose violence. Seriously, can we talk about that for a second? Because if diabetes has taught me anything, it's that sometimes the exact same meal can give you two completely different results. One day your body says, great choice, way to go, clap for you. The next day it responds like you ate a whole birthday cake. And then people wonder why people living with diabetes are so frustrated, because it's so much more than what we eat. Period. Sometimes it feels like you're studying for a test, but the answer to the test or the answers to the test are always changing. I think that's one of the reasons diabetes can feel so lonely. Not because we are physically alone, but because so much of what we're carrying is invisible. People see us eating. They don't see us calculating the carbs or the insulin doses in our head. People see us checking our phones. They don't realize we're looking at our CGM instead of Facebook. People see us pass on dessert. They don't know we've been debating that choice in our head for the last 20 minutes. People see our actions, but they never see the conversation in our brains that happened before it. And after a while, I think a lot of us just stop talking about it. We're not ashamed, although I definitely went through that stage after my diagnosis. I hid my diabetes for years. I didn't want people to know. I didn't want them judging me. I worried that they would think I did it to myself and I would become the diabetic girl. Thankfully, through a lot of work on myself, I am not that person anymore, and I don't carry that shame anymore. But you know what I do still hide sometimes? The burnout, because that's harder to explain. It's easy enough to tell someone I have diabetes. It's much harder to explain what it feels like to think about it every single day. To wake up in the morning already tired of making decisions, to have a week where your blood sugars don't make any sense, to have your insurance deny the medication that was working, to not want to put on a new Dexcom sensor because all the data feels like just too much, to do everything right and still feel like your body didn't get the memo. That's the kind of tired that people don't see. And then there's the comments that we get. And we've talked about this on numerous episodes before, but humor me, just go with it, okay? The comments we get, can you eat that? You should try this or that or the other snake oil. You should try cinnamon. My neighbor cured his diabetes. You just need to lose weight. Most of the time, I don't even engage anymore. And believe me, it is not because I have nothing to say. I do, but I just don't have the energy. Sometimes I just want to exist without diabetes becoming the topic of conversation. Sometimes I just want to order dinner without having to defend my dinner. Sometimes I just want to eat a piece of birthday cake without someone appointing themselves the diabetes police. Is that too much to ask, really? I don't think so. But you know what changed everything for me? Finding people who already understood. And I'm not talking about people who had all the answers, but people who spoke my language, people who understood why an insurance approval could make me cry happy tears, people who knew a CGM alarm at 3 a.m. could ruin the next day, people who didn't panic over one blood sugar, that understood that diabetes isn't just something you manage, it's something you carry. When I started Sugar Mama Strong 10 years ago, I thought I was creating a community because other people needed one. Turns out, I needed one too. Before I started SMS, the only person with diabetes that I had to talk to was my mother. And she was great at listening and answering questions for me. But she was my mom. And sometimes I wanted to talk to someone in my age range facing the life choices that I had to make every day as a young mom with little kids and vacations and all the things that we were doing. How did I manage that on top of managing type 2 diabetes? And I needed people. I needed to stop feeling like I was the only one having these conversations inside my own head. And every time someone says to me, I thought I was the only one, it makes me smile, because that's exactly why we're here. Not because we're trying to become some perfect patient, not because we all eat the same way, not because we all take the same medications. We're here because there's something incredibly comforting about someone saying, "Me too." Those two words can make you feel lighter. Has nothing to do with reversal or remission or any of those things. It's because you realize that you don't have to carry it by yourself anymore. So if you've been feeling lonely lately, I want to remind you of something. You are not the only one who gets tired of thinking about diabetes or who wishes you could turn your brain off, right? Just take a day off. You're not the only one who has stared at a number and let it affect your mood. You're not the only one who's felt exhausted by all the invisible work this disease asks of you. And maybe that's what I really wanted to say today. Not that diabetes is lonely, but that you don't have to be. Because every time you hit play on this podcast, every time you post in Sugar Mama Strong or Dudes with Diabetes, every time you leave a comment, every time you connect with someone who understands, you're reminding yourself of something that's really easy to forget. There are millions of us carrying this invisible backpack. Some days it feels heavy and some days it feels manageable, but none of us were meant to carry it alone. All right, that's it for today's episode of Sick of Pricks. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more than you know. And if you've ever thought, why did no one tell me this stuff sooner? That's exactly why I wrote my book, This Wasn't in the Pamphlet. It's real life with type 2 diabetes without the sugar coating. You can grab it on Amazon or get a signed copy from my website if you want something a little extra. And if you're ready to connect with people who actually get it, come join my Facebook community, Sugar Mama Strong. It's a safe space for support, accountability, and real conversations about health, goals, and life. You can also follow along on Facebook and Instagram for more daily motivation and updates. Everything's linked in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.